Okay, here we go. We are going to compare managerial and financial accounting. Financial accounting looks at the details that outside external users would want to know, people who'd want to invest or lend to the company. Managerial looks at information that's can be used within the company for management decisions. So we're going to start off with doing a comparison here so that you can decide which is managerial and which is financial. And you'll find most of that information on page 939 of the book. To begin with, it helps investors make investment decisions. Well, that's going to be financial accounting. And you'll just move down through there, seeing which stakeholder would use managerial accounting versus financial accounting. And here is a template that allows you to match these up, okay, one way or the other. And next we're going to look at how you would decide how much a haircut costs. And they give you and you're going to actually create a net operating income for the month. So they give you the revenues and they give you the expenses, and all of these are used, and they'll give you total operating expenses by adding those up, and that'll give you net operating income. But we're not looking at the income, we're going to look at the operating expenses. So you're going to look for the cost of one haircut, and they had 220 haircuts that month. So you will take the cost and divide it by 220. And now we're looking, at a retail merchandiser, auto windshields. And we're looking at the cost of goods sold computation, and you will find that on page 949, or at least where they talk about it. And we're going to look at what the beginning inventory was, what they purchased, what they paid for freight in, and that'll give us the goods available for sale. And then you must deduct the ending inventory. And all that information is right up here. You've got freight in, you have purchases, you've got ending inventory, and you have beginning inventory. So they've given you some extraneous expenses to work with. So you're going to figure cost of goods sold here. The next one then looks at 101 cookies, and they want you to calculate the direct materials used. So looking at this, you've purchased direct materials, you've got freight in that's going to be added to that inventory. Property taxes, that probably isn't part of direct materials, but the ending inventory and the beginning inventory you're going to need down here for that calculation. So you're going to plug those numbers in. You should end up with $9,400 worth of direct materials used. Again, you start with beginning, what's added, and subtract out the ending inventories. It's a common calculation used. Now we're going to switch and we're going to look at manufacturing. And manufacturing, you're going to take these wages, and all of this information, and you're going to decipher, okay, whether it's a direct material or direct labor, indirect materials, indirect labor, or other manufacturing overhead. You will find that information in the book. So you will take and place a number in the appropriate area. These direct material, direct labor, indirect material, indirect labor, and other manufacturing overhead are all discussed on page 947 in the book. So that should help you considerably. They're also in the margin, which is very nice. Will help you decide what goes where. If you get to a point where you're scratching your head, please message me and I'll help you walk through that a little bit. On number 6, we are looking at, now you're going to list manufacturing overhead. Again, I think page 949 will help you. It'll help you, those are the product costs. And then I'm trying to find here, how do manufacturing companies determine the cost of manufactured products, and that's on page 949. Which will help walk you through there. What you're going to do is, what is manufacturing overhead up here? You want to try to decipher what's overhead, what is marketing, what might be administrative costs. So what you'll want to do is read page 946, and it will explain how to classify these, how these are classified. And then you'll find indirect materials, you'll find indirect costs that will become part of the manufacturing overhead. Once you've decided what the overhead is, you're going to create that list and add the cost, and you should end up with $11,150 when you're complete with that. This is a good exercise to help you distinguish. The next one we look at is you're going to do a cost of goods manufactured, and you'll find that on page, oh boy, I thought I had that marked. You have all the numbers you need, and you literally have to just take the numbers from up here and put them down here. You're going to add the direct material used, and I believe they give you that number. You've got direct labor, and then you have manufacturing overhead, which is going to give you the total manufacturing costs. And then what do you have to account for? The costs that you have to account for, and then you continue down and subtract the ending work in process. You'll end up with the cost incurred and add the $6,000 to get that total cost you're accounting for, and then subtract that work in process. And manufacturing really uses this an awful lot to understand what's going on. And then we're going to look at manufacturer's costs that are inventoriable, product cost, or period costs. And again, you're going to find that in the book, page, oh my goodness, let me get the book up here. I think that was 946 actually, and I may not be right. Hold on. Okay, so it took me a while to find that. This inventoriable cost is actually just a product cost, and you'll find that on page 948. So don't let that inventoriable fool you, okay? You should be able to decipher out of this what each of these are by looking at the exhibit 18-6. And finally, on the very last one, we're going to consider the following data, and you're going to create a cost of goods manufactured and cost of goods sold together. And you'll find an example of that on page 952. Again, all of your information is up here. just need to pull it down and see how it all falls together in the pieces, and you'll end up with $200,000. The one thing that was a little bit confusing is this calculation. This becomes the direct materials used. It's a little bit unclear until you go down through it. And again, look at page 952. If you run into issues, just message me. I'm a click away, okay? Have a good time with this one.